Hi, my name is Mani Lafont, and for my literary class, I was assigned to think about a modern adaptation of Antigone. So, before going any further, let's just briefly discuss the original play. So, it's a Greek tragedy produced in 441 BC by Sophocles. Sophocles, who is now known especially for his philosophy work, but who wrote really good plays, such as this one. Um, so Antigone is about a young woman named Antigone. This is why it's called that way. So this young woman wants to bury one of her brother who is left in the wild after his death because he was not fighting in the right side of the war. So the king, her uncle, he doesn't want anybody to uh, touch the corpse, but Antigone, as a woman, wants to fulfill her duty and do one. This play, the essence of the play, is still pretty relevant today. A lot of people are struggling between fitting into their family and to the world, are struggling to fulfill their duty as a sister, brother, and do what the society wants them to do. Before seeing what I thought about doing, um, I'll just briefly explain one of my inspiration, which is the adaptation made here in Quebec by Sophie Deraspe in 2019. It's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it, especially the more activist uh, message behind it, as it talks about racism and systemic racism. So, this activism inspired me, and I thought about doing an adaptation on the recent event of the Iranian fight for justice. Um, the Iranian fight for justice, what I mean behind that is women's fight to be recognized as people. Um, their want to their want and their need to be more free. As you may or may not know, in Iran right now, there's a political regime that is controlled by religion, and they do not allow women to express themselves freely, as they have to put a veil and they don't have a lot of liberties. So recently, a woman named Amini, I hope I pronounced that well. So this young woman, she was killed by governmental forces because she was not wearing properly her veil. She was tortured and then uh, died a few days later in the hospital. So there's an important wave of manifestation about this issue, and a lot of women are right now fighting for their rights, for their human rights. So I would take that event and adaptate it to a movie. It may sound dramatic what I wrote, but what I mean behind the goal is to give a voice and platform to those who are oppressed is that this movie would take would take Iranian actors or Iranian descent actors who want to talk about the issue and their need to be seen and heard. It would be set in Iran, and the conflict would be between the government and a young woman who wants to give justice to one of her sister who was killed because she was not fulfilling her duty of what is seen and perceived as a good woman. So this movie adaptation would tackle moral teaching of the original play by Sophocles because it would also talk about women's place in the world, and it would also talk about the struggle to seek justice, as the main character would want justice for her sister. It would also talk about the issue regarding absolute power, um, which is experienced by everyone in Thebes because of Creon. Creon, who is the ruler, the king of Thebes, and wants everyone to listen to him because he has power. And so, the antagonist of the movie adaptation that I'm thinking about would also experience that absolute power and seek for power. So it would also tackle that. So, in conclusion, I was really inspired by the Quebec version of Antigone, which is a really good movie, and thought about a modern adaptation of Sophocles' play by taking the recent events in Iran. Of course, the elements that I just talked about would be subject to changes and modification because I would definitely recommend taking the point of view and what Iranians think about the movie and what should be changed to really adapt it to what they are feeling and their perception of what is happening as they are the ones who are living it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you like my idea.